Hi friends, David here from LearnStage. What is this in front of me? David from LearnStage Lighting and Above AVL. Today we're talking about microphones, in particular wireless mics. Going to talk about these Airwave mics. Going to talk about what you need to look for in a wireless mic. Going to talk about why in the world we're talking about microphones on an audio channel or on a lighting channel. Let's dive in. Okay, so obviously guys, if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, we've been LearnStage Lighting for the longest time, and in the past year or two, we've started talking about Above AVL. It's the name of our store now, and truth be told, we've got a lot more than just lighting. And I myself have actually been mixing audio longer than I've been doing lighting. Yes, now, professionally, I mostly have done lighting across the course of my career. But in the church world, with bands and corporate events, even in the professional world, I've mixed audio, and I've been doing it since about 04, 05. So we've got some experience under our belt. And so what we want to talk about today is the Airwave wireless microphones. Okay, so we're going to do a review here of their 4250 wireless setup. This one's been really popular, and there's a lot of things that set Airwave apart that we're going to talk about throughout the review. So first, let's take a look. So you get this case. With every pack, you get this case. And just to kind of set the stage on price, okay, a 2-channel Airwave system like this is, whether it's a lav and a handheld, 2 handhelds, or 2 lavs, is around the price range of 2 channels of a Sennheiser XSW or a Shure BLX system with the PG58 capsule, not with the SM58 capsule. This one is about equal in price to the PG58 capsule. Okay, and that's important as we get into this because wireless systems, as you might know, as I open this up here, first of all, you get this hard case. Like, it's not like a Pelican case, right? It's not like a name brand hard case, but it's pretty good. I've seen flimsier hard cases that were free with stuff, and if you're using this in a church, if you're using this for a band and you're fairly gentle with it, you're good to go. If you're going to be doing professional production, you probably are going to put it in a rack anyways. So it's a perfectly adequate case. Opening it up here, I'll show you what's inside. So this one's been opened before. Wesley from our team had it before I did and was using it. So you get a quick start guide and a manual. Then we've got our receiver itself. Quick tour on here before we turn it on is you get 2 channels of wireless inside of a rack unit that's not overly deep. And then if we go to the next layer, you'll see all of our other accessories. So what you have in this next layer essentially is, if I just fumble through this, is, both your microphones. If you did 2 handhelds, this is the 1 handheld, 1 lav. So you got room for 2 lavs or 2 handhelds. It's got a variety of accessories. So it comes with some cheap wire AA's, which is handy. You've got your antennas. Great note about the antennas with Airwave is, with pretty much every other budget wireless system on the market, if you stick it in a rack, which, I mean, honestly, most of the budget wireless at this price point doesn't even come with rack ears anymore. It's just not designed for that, which is kind of frustrating if you're in a church or something, you have an equipment rack. But the problem is the antennas are always stuck in the back of the rack, and if it's a small rack, these 2 antennas aren't going to be able to go up for optimum coverage. They're going to kind of be sideways over top of each other like this, right? So Airwave, they've solved that problem years ago because they've been a company for at least 10, 15 years, I think, and they honestly just flew under the radar for a long time. Not a lot of people knew about them. And so what they do is you've got rack ears included that you can pop on your unit, okay? And the rack ears come with a short antenna cable and then a coupler that sits in the rack ear. So that means the rack ear actually mounts to the side here. There's a little spot right here, a little gap where this is narrower than a rack U. And then the antenna hangs out right here on the front of the rack. Yes. And so that's something that you really don't see until higher end wireless unit than this. This is not a $3,000 per channel wireless microphone, right? So don't expect it to be one, but at the same time, having front mounted antennas in a rack unit is something that you just don't see at this price point. So as I mentioned, you've kind of got all your accessories. There's a 1/4-inch cable for some odd reason. Power brick, it is a brick, but it is pretty slim and it is 12 volts, so you could do it other ways as well. They do also offer antenna combiners, okay? So if you're doing a lot of units, you're gonna want one of those, and they offer those as well. Now, let's take a look at the unit itself. So as I mentioned, on the front, 2 LCD screens, 2 rack U's of channels, 1 and 2, nicely labeled. On the back, it's a little bit unique here in the sense that you have your antenna plugs, you got your power, strain relief, thank you, and you have 3 XLR outputs and 1 1/4-inch output, okay? And this is something I gotta tell you, like, you know, I first saw this years ago and was like, okay, this Airwave stuff, it's good. You know, we're happy with it. Why would you ever use the 2-in-1 mix balanced output where it combines the 2 channels together, right? Like, as someone who mixes audio, who's regularly done it over the past 15 years, like, 15, yeah, I'm older than I thought, 20 years. You know, I'm like, why in the world would you ever want to use a summed output out of a wireless microphone unit? And the answer is simply, you know, as we've been selling Airwave over the past couple years and we've had lots of happy customers with these units, the answer simply is that there are times where you only have 1 channel. In a smaller event space, conference room, even just in a church setting, sometimes you need more wireless in like a kid space, and you've got a mixer that only has so many channels and it's almost maxed out, right? So if you want to add 4 channels of wireless, you might not have 4 open channels, but you might have 2, right? And if it's just handhelds and, you know, it's not a critical, you know, kind of thing where people need separate monitoring and whatnot, you know, hooking up 2 handhelds with one of these units, using a single XLR out of it, knowing that they're combined, it's not bad, right? Like, it's okay, you know? It's not ideal. Obviously, you should run them separate, and you've got the ability to do this. But that's one feature on these that, as we've sold them over the past few years, I've been surprised how many times customers have come back and said, you know what? That really has helped me. It's saved me in different situations where I just needed to make it fit into 1 less channel. It wasn't critical to turn it on and off independently, etc. So let's look at the other hardware itself. Bodypack is, you know, it's a little more chunky than other body packs in this price range, but it feels well built. It's plastic, you know. Ooh, free batteries. Uh-oh, Wesley. I got some of your rechargeable batteries. Ooh, they're Eneloops. So it's not bad. It's a little chunkier than others on the market, but it works pretty well. You know, it's not a bad unit. They do have 2 frequency ranges at this time on these units, and I believe you can do 4 per frequency range in optimal conditions. If you do an antenna combiner, you can do more. Comes with a lav. I gotta tell you, I have used the lavs from Airwave before. I think this one's a little bit lower model than the like titaniums that I've used, but I have used their lav microphones with other wireless systems doing weddings, and I can tell you the game before feedback that I get on those and still get really good clarity, I was really happy with. Moving on to the Handheld, this is a mic that I've always really quite liked, the Handheld. So let's go ahead and pop some batteries in it. First thing you're gonna notice is, yes, it is the type where the bottom unscrews, but it doesn't suffer from the same problem as like the Shores, the SLX, where you can over tighten it and then it just strips the threads and then you're gaff taping it on for all eternity. So that's really nice. No buttons on the bottom where people try to hit stuff. There's just a button here on the front. I like that. It is also a metal body, which again, at this price point, you just don't see. In general, in testing both at my church, Wesley's church, in the field, just here as we're gonna test it in a few minutes in our studio, the quality of the microphone, you know, the quality of the capsule is very similar to an SM58. I would say it's better than most of the similar units. The IR transmitter receiver for syncing the frequency is here. So you'll see that. And then let's go ahead and just look at the display really quick here. So display-wise, it's got a really nice display. You can see everything on it in really clear light. When you press on it, it's gonna light up bright, okay? And then it's got the frequency, it's got the gain, it's got the RF level, and it's got a 3-segment battery indicator. Again, at microphones of this price level, this is like a lot better. And this microphone just feels a lot nicer to stuff in that price range. Okay, so let's stop messing around. I mean, obviously look and feel is good, quality feels good. Let's see, we'll take off the head here just to show you. So grills can be replaced. I don't believe, it looks like there are some screws here on the capsule. So I think you could replace the capsule if it was broken, but it's not like hot swappable with other brands, etc. So let's plug her in, get her fired up, and get going. So I'm gonna hold this in for off. So it's a single button. Quick press gives you mute. Long hold turns it off. You cannot disable the mute, which is in line with wireless systems of this price range. I don't like that, but in a lot of use cases, it's fine, right? And so, you tell people don't press the buttons, it's generally fine. Again, if you're looking for a professional high-end unit, this is not quite that, but this is more, again, towards the Sennheiser XSW, the Shure BLX range. It really exceeds those, but that's where it sits in price. And that's why we like these ones so much, because everybody that we've sold them to, that purchased them from us, has been really happy with them. And anytime that we have like 100% success rate, don't say anything bad there, on a product, we're really happy with that, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on, get her plugged in here. Of course, there's a strain relief for the power, but I'm not gonna use that right now because we're just here in the studio. Let's power it up. All right, audio, we'll be using that in a minute. So I am gonna use the combined output. We'll just look at one at a time. Oh my goodness, poor me. Seriously though. Then we're gonna look at it. So microphones are off right now, and so I'm gonna look at it real quick here. And we have got, it's set at 478 and 482, but I am seeing some RF interference. And so just hold in the auto button after unlocking the system. Okay, so the two sides are separate in unlocking the display. Hold the auto for some period of time. Oops, oh, I'm just supposed to press it, not hold it. So I was relocking it every time I pressed it. Okay, so you just hit it and now it's flying through frequencies until it finds something it likes. Gonna go to the other side, set, unlock it, hit auto, boom, it's gonna fly through frequencies, find one that it likes. And so now we go and we power these kids on. So we're gonna power this guy on, power this guy on. And now we're just gonna go and open up the battery door. Where is it on this one? The IR receiver. It's got a little IR thing right here under the battery flap, and so I'm just gonna go and hit ASC and hold it up. And then we see antennas, we see audio, so that's good. Go to the other one. It's IR, so it's very directional. The IR window on this one is under the battery door. So you hit the button, boom, we saw it sync up right away, really quite quick. Looks like, Yep, they are on separate frequencies. They are good. So quick look on the display, and we'll do close-ups of this later, is we have a really nice RF signal. Lets us see our AF, what antenna we're on, what the squelch is set to, frequency, RF transmitter set as well. If we do go into the menu, you can set lots of things, such as the squelch. You just kind of hit set, change the channel. So you can hit set, go through everything. I really do like that you can see everything all at once. So on the screen, you see everything. There's nothing buried in a menu. It's all right there for you to see, which is really nice. So now we've got these guys on. We can see the display. We can see everything wiring and firing. So I'm going to turn off the handheld and have on just the lav. And let's go over to the computer and go ahead and dial it in. Now the caveat here is, at least with the way I've got things set up right now, I don't have a great monitoring for the microphone. So I'm just pulling them into a channel 2 on the mixer. We're gonna listen to them flat. We're going to kick a high pass up to 100, 120 Hertz, and we're gonna leave it right there. So you can hear it as raw as can be. There's no EQ on the mains, anything like that. It's coming straight into this mixer. So first we have the lav. I would say of the two microphones, just to start off, the lav is definitely less impressive. Like the stock lav that comes with this is pretty cheap. That being said, at my church, for example, we have the titanium dual ear headset from Airwave. We'll give you a shot of that here and a link on our store. And that thing is awesome. When I first used it, I literally had the EQ turned off on accident, just high passed it a little, and it sounded great. Even today, there's very, very, very minute EQ on that at the church. But back to this lav. So here we're listening to it. You can see I've got it clipped on my shirt, kind of in a typical way like somebody would on a dress shirt. And let's give it a little EQ. So you'll hear it definitely is picking up some room noise, like, all the lights behind us, we have some fan noise. There's definitely, as stuff rubs against it, it's a little susceptible to some noise. I'm going to go ahead here and high pass it. Okay, 95, 130. That definitely improves some things. It's in terms of a lav, I would say it's not the strongest, but it's not terrible. I'll kick on the EQ here. Let me listen to it here in these headphones, which are not perfect headphones. And, personally, at least in the headphones I'm listening at, woo, we made that jump. In the headphones I'm listening in, a little something like this, maybe not that much, really goes a long way in terms of, just high shelving this guy a little bit. Overall, I think it sounds pretty good for the price. I've also used their higher end lavs, their titanium, and was really, really impressed with the sound from that. Not a big lav guy myself. Of course, I do a fair amount in the church world, and going with the headsets is the way to go. I've had really good success with all of the Airwave headsets. I'm personally using the titanium the most. So let's go over to the Handheld and give you a listen there, because I think like the lav in this kit is a little bit underwhelming. But at the same time, like folks that we've gotten these for are thrilled with these lavs. They're really happy with them. It's a price performance thing, right? Like it's fairly inexpensive. You can easily upgrade the lav. Headset mics are well available and really a lot better. So I'm going to mute this one here. And now I've gone ahead and unmuted the Handheld, okay? So I'm just going to give the Handheld a little more gain than we had on the lav. Get it happening here. You can hear, it's the same level of room noise, same level of everything else. Wow. I'm really happy with how this sounds. Let's just kick off the high pass, kick off the EQ real quick. Whatever keyboard shortcut I'm hitting to make that happen, I don't know. But both of those, completely bypassed here, and it sounds pretty good. It sounds very warm, but you can see here, I'm a couple inches from my face. Pop plosives. Yeah, it picks up on a little bit of that, but let's just, apply some really basic stuff, right? Like you're gonna do on pretty much any wireless handheld channel, just a little high pass here, and then I don't need to shade the high end like I did with that lav for sure, at least as I hear it in these headphones, which are not world-class headphones by any means. I'm looking at doing something like this, just doing a little bit on the low end. Maybe we'll crack it up a little bit here, and I think it sounds really good there. Again, I have a lot of speakers at my church personally where, we're going to be more in this range, and I'll go sideways and look at the monitor, where, you've got people talking over the mic with really bad mic technique. You've got people doing the belly button thing, right? Or, doing something like this. And of course, I'm always trying to coach them to be somewhere like this, and it sounds quite good. If you do get up really close on it, and I'm just making sure that I'm not peaking anywhere there, you definitely get a lot of proximity effect, a little bit of extra pop. So I would say for experienced vocalists, just staying this far away, as you can see here, roughly, 2-3 inches does a world of wonder for it. You definitely get some proximity effect up closer. Overall, though, like at least at my church and, in my experience with talking heads and things like that are holding a mic, they're doing this. Maybe they're even pushing it away from themselves. They're not having great mic technique. And at least, comparing this directly with my current system at my church, which is some Sennheiser XSWs from the previous generation, those mics are fine, but we have a lot of trouble with them on the high end being very harsh, being very pitchy, just kind of a lot of sibilance on the S's And I'm really not hearing that with this mic. And in our testing side by side, really didn't hear that. I hear just a little bit of a funky ring, which I hear also in my room from one of the moving lights back there. So don't discount that. But overall, I'm really happy with what I'm hearing here. And of course, the look and feel of these mics are great. So let's hop back and wrap this thing up back at the desk. So what do we think? As I've kind of known for years, like Airwave's one of those brands that's not really well known, but their ownership is someone who's been in this business for a long time, who knows this business really well, and who spent the time to get this product right on the front end and continues to put out really good products every year. We will be reviewing more of these products on the Learn Stage Audio YouTube channel by Above AVL. That's us, which doesn't exist yet, but hopefully it will exist by the time this comes out. And we're gonna review and do audio tests on more of their microphones. Because honestly, we've been impressed just with the value per dollar on all of these microphones. Like, they're not the cheapest thing out there. There's always cheaper stuff, but for the price, they give you a lot, which has always been our thing, right? Always been our thing here at Learn Stage Lighting and Above AVL is like, what products out there give you, a really good bang for your buck, a lot of quality for the price. So check these out on our store. There's multi-packs available. Request a quote. We love to help people out, and let me know what you think below. Are you interested in these? Do these look good? Honestly, somebody who, volunteers at a church where we have a fleet of, Shure SLX and Sennheiser XSW units. Talking to Wesley, who is on our gear team, who has BLX in his portable system at his church. This thing definitely is very comparable, Wesley was saying, to the SM58 BLX model, which is more expensive than this unit itself. Remember, 2 channels of wireless in here compared to those systems just having 1. So when you add up 2 channels, this is less costly, but really on par. And it definitely beats, the PG58. I think it beats the Sennheiser XSW, but you should check it out for yourself. Everybody we've had who's gotten these has been really happy. We've gotten some great reviews back. And so if you're interested, check them out over at aboveavl.com. We'd love to help you with everything you need, audio, video, and of course, lighting wise. And we'll see you guys in the next video. And of course, over on the new audio channel. See you guys there. Thanks.